Namaste. We are now commencing our new series from Heart to Heart, Volume 1. This is the collection of talks and questions and answers from the Proceedings of the seminars on Sahaj Marg, August 1987 in Denmark, USA, Canada, Wales and England, given by Shri Parthasarathi Rajagopalachari. This is the first volume. The topics covered are freedom and slavery, fun, invertendo, ashram, walking with the master, read and enjoy, the naked self, condition and experience, questions and answers, waiting, a dog's life, change, address to Canadian Board of Directors meeting, if necessary, questions and answers, linearity, separateness and union, no success, no failure, fear of change, learning by speaking, losing else, hiding from the master, expect not, letting go, who is a master, oneness, invoking inside, past, present and future, his is mine, spiritual wine, seeking the unchangeable, nature and master, illuminate, punishment and correction. Let us begin with the first talk, freedom and slavery, on August 2nd, 1987. You can see I am a little nervous, he chuckles, laughter, not only because of my throat. I read a book about Africa recently where it says, when the lion roars, there is death in the jungle, but many feed after it. When the lions roar in the jungle, there is death, but many feed after it. It makes a lot of sense. So sometimes I feel that it is better I don't speak, and I feel that it is why my voice was removed this time by my master, because Sulochana will tell you and N. Rangachari will tell you that till I got into the plane at Delhi airport, there was nothing wrong with my throat. I was quite fit. Of course, I had some fever and headache, but my throat was fine. But between Delhi and Frankfurt, my master sort of gripped my throat in his hand and said, "Shut up." Now, I was wondering why this was so, because everything has a reason. You see, what the master does must have a reason, and you know that. Of course, now it has become the fashion to say that Babuji never said this, Babuji never said that, but everybody knows that I spoke for my master. Everything that was formally said about Sahaj Marg, I said in 72, in 76, in 80. Every time you have seen me with master, I have spoken in his presence, most of the time. So, it is rather childish to say Babuji never said it. I always said things Babuji never said much. It was his style, you see, that he left the inconvenient things to me. I mean, I am not making any secret of it, because I have told him myself that I am like the buffer in between the two trains, and it is unfair. I said, you want to be laughing and sitting with your silk shirt and be the big boss, happy boss, giving everybody presents, and you want me to do your dirty job? I told my master this so many times, and he used to smile blissfully, you see, and said, that is why I take you with me. So somebody had to do the job, and all the Danes know this very well, that even in 72, the shall we say, tasteful, unpalatable things were mostly said by me, and the jokes were made by my master. Of course, he always used to say, I don't joke, even my jokes have meaning, and then he laughed a little more, not because we found the meaning in the jokes, but because it was so pleasant, so nice, the honey in the cup of tea, you see. It is nice to drink medicine when you know there is honey in it. So that was my fortunate role. Perhaps, I don't know. I think it was a training for me that, my dear friend, I am working in the West. For me, it is an experiment. You are here, not only to help me, not only to come and eat the cake that is put before me, but which I cannot eat. I am too old. But you have to learn to do the work, and this is how it has to be done. You have to be prepared to be misunderstood, to be perhaps disliked, to have people angry with you. So you see, what I foolishly thought, that he was using me as a buffer, was not quite right. He was training me from the beginning. Be prepared for a time when I shall not be with you to make these nice jokes in front of this lovely dance. There will be a time when you will have to be alone. So start with his unpleasantness from right now in my presence, when I am there to protect you, to support you, so that later on you will not feel lonely, you will not feel hurt, you will not feel misunderstood, because it would have happened even when I am there. I realize now that it was a training for me, and unless you have had that training from the Master, you do not know what it is. You see, the life of a disciple is hard enough. We are expected to do so many things. I am also a disciple of my Master. Even today, I am a disciple of my Master. I mean, always I shall be a disciple of my Master. That position cannot change. So, I have to go on it in my way, developing myself. And if you think it is difficult, it means giving up so many things. It means doing without so many things. It means suffering so many things. Well, that is our foolishness. The life of a disciple is a disciplined life. Babuji has said this so many times, you see. One who is disciplined is a disciple, nothing else. All this talk of practice and pranayam and hatha yoga, it's all stupid nonsense, you see. You may do all the yoga in the world, but if you have no discipline, you cannot be anybody's disciple. This is my Master's definition. Take it or leave it. So in my life, as a disciple of my Master, which is still continuing, which shall continue forever and ever, I have my own discipline to follow, isn't it? How can I possibly be a disciple of my Master without obedience to the principles that he has put before me first? You know that famous principle that the maker of the law must be its first servant. You cannot say, the law is made for others, not for me. Everybody will ride on the right, I will go on the left. He will be the first person to die. So the maker of the law has to be the first servant of the law, and this I have known for a long time. I came to my Master in 1964, not much different from the average human being, not very different except the color of my skin, the color of my hair, the fact that I have an Indian passport. You see, we sometimes think that morality is something special to some countries, or for that matter, immorality is something very special to certain countries. It's stupid. All are equally moral or equally immoral. Only thing is, some make more open show of it, some hide it. That we never had shops where obscene things were sold does not mean India was more moral. It only means that the average Indian was perhaps more careful at hiding his evils. Nevertheless, India happens to be, and perhaps will always be, the land of spirituality. Not because, like in every field, there is mud below, but it is not a swamp, it is cultivated. You see, when you have a swamp, it stinks, it's full of disease. You are unable to go into it because you may be dragged inside. There are snakes, there are insects, nobody knows, you see. Even sometimes monster, they say in myths. So, when you want to clear out swamp, first you drain it. Same thing you do when you handle a boil and it's full of pus. The first thing the physician does, it takes a knife and cuts it and drains away the pus. So this you call surgery, you see, and immediately the pain goes. As long as the pus is there inside, dub 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 dub, it goes with your heartbeat, you see. You cannot sleep, but one slice of knife, the pus is gone, and the child sleeps, and the old man sleeps, the woman sleeps, everybody sleeps. So we know, you see, that if a town is to be well, if it is to be healthy, the nearby swamp which is infested with fever, with disease, with muck, rubbish has to be drained off. Then it becomes soil which can be cultivated. You can have gardens, you can have what you want. You know, if there is a festering wound in you and there is pus, it has to be cleared out. Without it, you cannot even sleep. We know these things, you see. We see it in the geography of the race. We see it in physiology of the race. But when it comes to spirituality, there is resistance. Because now we cannot see the pus. We cannot feel the inner pains. And we say, why? We are a free country. You see this freedom. So you see, the discipline that must apply to a land, to a people, must apply also to the soul of that people. And if my master was not able to get this message across, it was for many reasons. First, of course, he didn't want to speak about it because he was always shy. You all know that. He was too shy to talk of certain subjects. He used to be what you want, he used to be what you would call in modern language inhibited. We have a saying in Tamil that if you say fire, it will not burn your mouth. Just by saying fire, will it burn your mouth? But there was a generation, my master's generation, my father's generation, where certain things could not be discussed at all. Not even between father and son, not even between husband and wife. That was the way our society was constituted. So you had to go round and round and round in a very devious way. I remember once a couple came to Shahjahanpur to live there, and the husband was very worried. Young couple, you see. The husband was legitimately worried whether it was alright to live as husband and wife in an ashram. Now, how to go and ask the master? You cannot possibly go to master and say, Babuji, you know, is it allowed? Once a week, once in 10 days, once in 15 days, whatever it is. So he went and sat with the master, pressed his feet, put oil on it, took 2 hours, you see. Then said, you know, Babuji, I have come here with my wife, scratching his head. He said, she is very nice girl, I know it, and she is going to do much service, I tell you. No, Babuji, what I mean is, you know, we are living in an ashram. Yes, that is why I built the ashram. I want people to live here, you see. Like this it went on for 3 hours, and that day he achieved nothing. A week later, he took up courage, you see. It must have been the pressure of need. So he went back to the master, again started with the oil and massage. He said, you know, I was talking with you last week. Yes, I hope you are comfortable. If there is anything you need, let me know. He said, no, Babuji, you know, now I am living with my wife here. He said, is it right to live as husband and wife? He said, of course you are husband and wife. How else will you live? But this man was not happy, because it was not an explicit question and explicit answer. For Babuji it was enough that a dog lives like a dog and a lion lives like a lion. A husband and wife live like husband and wife. It means everything, you see. It was only after nearly 6 weeks that he got the courage to say, Babuji, you know this is, after all, I am a family man. He said, no, you see, why didn't you tell me in the beginning? Laughter. Now he would not tell him. That is what I have been trying to do for the last 6 weeks. So he went away happy. So that is the sort of society in which my master grew up. Certain things are never discussed. So to say today that Babuji never said these things, I mean it is too facile an excuse for disobedience. There are many things which I am not going to tell you. Perhaps I won't have the time. You who knows how long I am to live. Maybe even the next man who comes after me will not be able to see everything, because this is a continuing path. You see, it is like saying, oh, I traveled 100 miles and there was no turning, and suddenly it says, oh, gouch. Is it fair that you bring me 100 miles and now ask me to turn left? Yes, but that's how the road goes, you see. Then suddenly you come, if it is India, to a bridge which is broken. And then they say, stop, road closed. Well, you have to turn back. Otherwise, you sit there and curse the government from today to the end of eternity. Nothing is going to happen to you. So you see, it is the essence of a growing way that the way twists sometimes, turns sometimes. Sometimes it is monotonously straight. We have to go with the road, not make the road go with us. It would only be a fool who will say, tell me in advance everything. Yes, it can apply to the autobahns of Germany. But even there we have some of these nice brilliant lights flickering away suddenly in the road, you know. People have to slow down and zoom. I have known Gabi braking from 120 to 16 in about 3 seconds, and then you feel all the cars here because something is happening here. Even the Automobile Association cannot give you the state of the movement condition of the roads. Can you tell of a tree? Oh, this branch did not exist last year. How dare it exist now? You say. Yes, it is growing. Therefore, there are new branches, new leaves, new twigs, new... Oh, but my child, you know, it was only so big when I left 3 years ago, and now you have made it into a monster. Now 6 feet, it is growing. So when a thing is growing, it is changing. It is adding to itself. So we are on a path, Sahaj Marg. It is not only the natural way, it is the eternal way too. And it must change as we change. As somebody reminded me, when I came into this hall for meditation, they said, Chari, you gave a speech in 1980 when you told the Danes that more will be expected of you now because you are growing up. I hope the Danes remember that talk. It is in one of the books. The more we grow up, the more we become responsible. The more we have to be responsible for ourselves first and for so many other things later, for our children, for society, for our cars, for our houses. So you see, either we grow, and the fact of growth means accepting more and more responsibility, accepting more and more restraints on how we can behave, how we can act. A loaf of bread when I was alone and I was happy. When I am 3, if I still have no money, the loaf of bread now has to be fed 3 people. I cannot just eat it for breakfast and leave my wife and son to starve. It isn't possible. Oh, but you know, I did not bargain for this when I married. Well, at least you bargained for 2. So, the fact of growth means the fact of change. It means the fact of having to face new things every morning. Why every morning? Every moment of our existence. Things are eternally changing. You sit on the ocean, on the beach, and there is a new wave every second. And you know that old famous story, the story of stupid King Canute, who had a lot of sycophants, and they said, "You are the greatest emperor on earth." He said, "Oh, is it so? I want to prove it." They said, "Majesty, tell the ocean to stop the waves." He said, "Stop. There are certain things not even the greatest ever human being can stop. You cannot stop the oceans moving. You cannot stop the stars on their course. You cannot stop the sun from rising and setting. You cannot change the laws of growth. And then, if you think, as some people do, that we have a choice of not growing, remember the only alternative is death. That which does not grow dies. whether it is a plant, whether it's a microbe, whether it's a human being, whether it's a culture, whether it's a nation, even the whole world you see. Because in nature, there can be no static position. And you say, well, we are happy as we are. Please leave us as we are. Nature will not tolerate static conditions. So the alternative to obedience is not disobedience. It is not even leaving Sahaj Marg now. I am sorry to say that. Sometimes I have myself felt that I got into the wrong train and now I have no way of getting out of it, you see. Especially now when the engine driver has got out and left me holding the wheels, which I don't know how to move. I wish I could have jumped out with him, but it would be disaster to jump out now, not only for me. My master couldn't care less. He would say, you are a damn fool, you know. I knew it was from the beginning. But what about what whole train load of people I have entrusted to take to your care? You have no right. Wait till you bring them somewhere where you can get off safely and hand them over to somebody better equipped than yourself. So you see, for me, it was been a tragedy in many ways. The least of it is that I used to think I was intelligent. Yes, I thought I was very intelligent. I found my master. I wrote my book, My Master. I praise all nice, all honey and you know, peaches and cream. And today I am stuck in a situation from which literally there is no escape for me. And don't think I am sharing some sort of ghoulish pleasure when I tell you. For you also there is no escape. There is no escape because you are on the evolutionary path. Once a child is born, it cannot say, I do not want to grow. I mean, every child likes to remain a child. Age of 3, beautiful. Age of 5, blissful, you see. Age of 8, wonderful. Moo, mother, and you have everything you want. The father is just waiting to be at your service. You want a pair of shoes? 300 kroner. You want ice cream? 33 kroner, you see. Yeah, but come to the age of 11 and 12 and you go to school and then you start feeling the father's hand on your backside, the mother's pinches. Then you say, oh mommy, why don't I just remain a child? And the mother says, darling, I also thought like that once. I was also the darling of my mother and I had such a wonderful childhood, you know. All pink tulle and lace and flowers in the hair and ribbons. And today you see me, I am in bloody mess. A husband whom I don't care for, who doesn't care for me. You kids who don't know anything except ice creams and shoes. Laughter. Imagine my situation. You are in the same mad, big, giant Catherine wheel. You get in and until you come back to the starting point, there is no getting out. So this is the frustration of getting into something in which you cannot do as you are expected to do, but which you must do. But if you are willing to do what has to be done, yes, now I am in it, let me relax. Let me take the maximum benefit out of the situation. What do you want me to do? Well, for heaven's sake, nothing. Meditate, obey the 10 maxims and obey. You have been told that one who is disciplined is a disciple. Be a disciple. Oh, is that all? Yeah, of course. That's what I am doing. Life becomes miraculously simple. Miraculously, it begins to flower. Miraculously, you know, you find what you thought was frustrating, constricting, enervating experience, robbing me of my supposed freedom, is in fact a liberating experience, unparalleled in human experience. Now, how can you ever experience it until you are willing to do it and see? If you ask a doctor, Doctor, I am sick, he gives you medicine. No, prove to me that this will relieve my headache and then I will take it. He says, take it and see. If it doesn't, call another doctor. It's as simple as that. No, but every doctor says the same thing, you see. So, if you want what is apparently a very troublesome, trouble-filled, discipline-filled, freedom-robbing adventure, try discipline. Nobody says that. you should like discipline. I mean, discipline wouldn't be discipline if it was liked by people. I don't like driving on the right side. I occasionally like to ride on the left side too. I am also a free individual. Just because I am an Indian, it doesn't mean I have no freedom. But I know, you see, that if I move out of the left and go to the right, there will be a dead chari being carried on the shoulders of four nice brave young men. So it is survival which is at stake in obedience, not just growth. It's all right to talk of freedom, you see. If you will examine your hearts, the better run your country is, the more modern, the more and the higher the standards of living, the more you are a slave of your people, of your country. Please look into the hearts and tell me who is today the free people. They are rotting, the stinking, the hungry, the disease-ridden people of Asia and Africa, not of Europe. Here you are slaves of society, of system, of governments, but then you realize that this slavery is also contributing to your physical well-being, your education, your medical care, while the so-called free people of Asia and Africa, they are dying in the millions. Which would you choose? I offer you absolute freedom on one side, the vasted deserts known on east of Sahara, the Sahel, wander where you like. Nobody to stop you, no red lights, no policemen, no passports, maybe without water for days, and ultimately you end up as food for the vultures. Or would you prefer to be in a society which holds you in its fist, iron fist, you see? You don't feel it. I feel it every time I step into Europe, the suspicion, the hatred. What is this guy doing here? Why has he come here? Is he going to take a bit of Denmark or France or Germany away with him when he goes? And if I tell them, no, I have come to give something to your people, they would laugh. You, black man, stinking fellow, you give us something? They are right too, because I cannot take anything out of my pocket and say, here it is. So they look suspiciously, look 3 times, put it on the computer, get the green light, then reluctantly stamp it hard, you see. It's not only inhuman, but sometimes I feel so insulted, you see. But why do I come here? I mean, for me, it's no pleasure to come to Europe, I tell you. I don't need the standards of living that you provide. I was never accustomed to them. I don't need cushions. I don't need air conditioning. My God, my master gives me everything in plenty that is necessary for my well-being. If I come, it is to help you to realize that what is happening to me today can happen to you tomorrow. If your country goes down in its standards of living, if there is another Chernobyl, beware. So you see, now the way of bewaring is not too immediately to store up water and food grains and bread and cheese, but to prepare in the inside, you see. How can I be inside than free, unlimited, totally blissful spirit as my Maker made me, though I am outside in so many manifestations? After all, it is the divine which manifests in every one of us, even in a pig, even in a dog. Why only human beings? If we are able to make that change of the inner being who is inside myself, inside you, inside of all of us here, then we become free of our bodies, of the culture to which it belongs, of the color to which belongs, of the sex into which it has been, shall we say, thrust willy-nilly. And then we find that that was something stupid, you see. The pleasures of the body, it is for the children, not really for adults. And if an adult behaves like a child, what do we say? That is childish fellow, you see. But when a whole society behaves childishly, foolishly, stupidly, we are able to convince ourselves that we are right because everybody in my society behaves like that, you see. So my dear brothers and sisters, this is something very serious, you see. I have been telling you this before, not with the idea of teaching you, because I am still teaching myself too. Every time I teach you, and try to teach you. I am trying to teach myself something too. It is an experience. It is an experiment in trying to transcend the purely banal, physical animal existence and rise beyond into something else, you see. It is not enough that my Babuji was a special personality. It is not enough. If he was the special personality and if he came down to earth, it was for a purpose. To offer that same existence of liberated existence, of free existence, of desire-free existence, pain-free existence, frustration-free existence, and say, my child, come, you are me, and I am in you too. I cannot be the special personality without my being in every one of you here. So try to realize it, and then we fly together. That was the message of the master, you see. But we say, no, you see, I am a Danish seagull. That was Richard Bach who wrote Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Now go to Germany. It is better for you, you see. Yes, if you don't want it, I will go to Germany too. But remember, I am here too, I am there too, I am everywhere else too. So, in a sense, the master comes not only to liberate you, he comes to liberate himself in each one of you. Like a doctor can rest and relax only when his society is disease free. If every moment of the night he gets a telephone call, somebody is dying, there is a terminal cancer patient, somebody is crazy here, somebody is drunk there, what peace can he have? So, in curing people, in healing people, he is liberating himself from the sickness of the others. In the curing, in the well-being lies his liberation. So the masters of the world, people imagine, you see, that they are great souls, disinterested souls, magnanimous souls. Yes, of course they are all that. But as the Buddha said, Gautama, the Buddha said, I cannot leave this world until every one human being is still bound to the chains of Maya. You all know of the famous war crime trials. There were big prisons. If there were just one prisoner there, it had to have an administration, a jail superintendent, a warden, the man to feed him, the kitchen, the washing, whatnot. You see, just one prisoner. So often I think that this world that we see around us with as its beauties, mountains, palaces, lakes, Switzerland, this is an administration to make our imprisonment here attractive. It's like providing libraries and playrooms in the jails of the world. But if you begin to think, I have got a library, I have got a playroom, I have got a television, why should I be free? Then God help you. So you see, that is the message of the master, however nice imprisonment is made. And please remember this, modern science, modern technology have only made slavery acceptable, slavery palatable, slavery filled with well-being, good clothes, good shoes, good food, honey. They have not removed the slavery, and this has led us to believe that we are a free people, a free nation. We are working for ourselves. We have liberated ourselves. We are the best on earth. In this lies the greatest danger. Not in indiscipline, not in immortality, but in accepting slavery for freedom. So, the first lesson is examine your situation. Are you really free? Are you still a slave, a well-fed, pampered, educated, Mercedes driving slave? Think over this very carefully, you see, and then decide. Here we conclude the first lecture. Now in the next narration video, we will start the next video on fun. Thank you for listening.